Hi guys, I would just like to introduce a nice cartridge I designed back in 2003, and I finally got around to finishing it and finishing building the rifle. It is basically a new cartridge and it's called 308 AC Phoenix. What I'd like to tell you about it is that back in 2003 during the gun confiscation, or slash buyback if you want to call it that, in Australia, I ended up with 400 pieces of 50 AE pistol brass, simply because they would not buy the brass but they're happy to take the gun. There's a loaded round with a 300 grain lead pill in it. Nice old gun, but there you go. So what do you do now when you to imagine this is prior to 300, your Winchester super short magnums and short magnums. This is prior to this coming along. And I ended up with this, and look, if I was to do it today, I'd say, no, why would you even bother? You just pick one of these other cartridges. Well, none of those were around, and with 400 pieces of brass, it's sort of like, what do you do? Well, this is what I did. I ended up making a little cartridge called the 308 AC Phoenix. AC after my first and last name, and Phoenix because I figured, well, from the ashes of the buyback came a new cartridge, given that I would never even consider it if the buyback didn't happen. So that's why I've called it the Phoenix. In 2012 I presented this cartridge along with the rifle to my local club, the Armed Collectors Guild of Tasmania, and I received first place, getting the in 2012 for the 308 Phoenix cartridge. I was rather chuffed about that on a little project, and I'm ready to talk about it now because I've put the rifle together. Finally, this is finished and cerakoted with a new barrel in it. Now we'll start off with the process to make it. I had to make my own die. This is the forming die, and there are interchangeable collets inside the form die of different sizes, 6 in total, which size down the neck in increments and stop on the shoulder, which it has a little 40-degree shoulder. A die itself would go in with the shoulder down, the cover piece would go over the top, and then the expander ball would go on top of that and then screwed on the top. Now the expander, I actually made interchangeable collets for the expander of the correct sizes, so that got me going with as far as that's concerned. Now, and that was just done on a lathe, machined up, make sure it got the dimensions right and how I was happy with it. Then I started forming, which was a huge learning curve, I can tell you, working out how much annealing had to be done and how much. I ended up with a bit over 300 cases, so I lost quite a few from trying the forming process and how to form it and all the rest of it. And this is what I come down to, and I now get 100% of cases every single time. First stage is the first collet, down to about 45. Actually, it can hold a 44 Magnum shell, 44 Magnum projectile. 357 is the next one it goes down to. Then the third one would take it down to 338. Then I would anneal the cases again. Then I would, there we go, we would take it down to the 308 with a number 4 collet. Well, there's more 338, sorry. And then we'd come down to, we'd trim it, square it up a bit. I apologise for the camera work. I actually lost my camera stand and I'm having to do it all by hand. Don't know where I've put the damn thing. And then it was finalised with the number 5 collet, which brought it down with the 305 mandrel and brought that down. Then the cases would be inside neck reamed, outside neck turned, and then fire formed. This is a fire formed case. I'd use the grain of wheat process to fire form the cases. and bring them up. That's a finished case, loaded up. Yeah. Once I got that concept going and looking alright, then I decided I needed a barrel. Well, I picked up this rifle, which was a Winchester model 70 in 223 WSSM with a stuffed barrel. Burnt out, basically. I got it very cheap. But the bolt size was almost alright. What I ended up doing was silver soldering a stainless sleeve in place to hold the bolt, the rim of the case correctly, and modify the extractor slightly because the 50AE case is slightly smaller by about 20 thou, I think it is from memory, than the WSSM case. Whereas now it fits perfectly. Now, I'd use this barrel. I had a 308 Ruger barrel, 308 Ruger barrel, stainless, that was shot out. So I rechambered it and threaded it, cut it off, chambered and threaded it, fitted it up, which fit the profile perfectly, just proof of concept. And yes, I spelt Phoenix wrong on the old barrel, which on the new barrel you can see that I actually spelt it correctly. Yes, learnt that lesson. Made sure I did it right. Proof of concept was fantastic. It was surprisingly accurate. Only a 3-shot mag, but anything over 3 shots, the thing would start walking in such a light barrel. So I ordered another stainless barrel from Total Solutions Engineering, a 5-groove 307 in 1 and 10, and profiled it myself to the profile that I wanted, which was heavier than what the original, but still fit in the stock. Cerakoting has been done by a friend of mine who here in Tasmania has the Cerakote Tasmania. Give Craig a call from DDT Double Tap Designs. Send him an email or see his web place, or send him a message. He also makes the case annealer. So yeah, very good job done with that. Now, is it accurate? Hell yeah. To get there with the chamber, I had to order some reamers. Now, I had Dave Manson of Manson Reamers make me a sizing reamer. It's undersized so I can make a full-length sizing die, and a chamber reamer, live pilot of course, with a rather long throat, so I can put heavier pills if I want to, but it also keeps the pressures down, which is good. Surprisingly, it's still quite accurate. The headspace gauges I actually made from tool steel myself, a go and no go, and there's 4 thousandths of an inch difference between the go and no go, which is pretty standard. Now, dies. I made the dies myself too. A Lee shell holder, of course, I was going to make that. That's a test chamber I use to check all my loaded rounds, such as this, which is there. Just drops it perfectly. Of course, the seating die, I actually use the chamber reamer to do that, because that fits perfectly with that. You can see there, 308 ACP seater. I did use a standard store-bought Reading lock nuts and seating stem, and the standard store-bought Reading decapping pin, and I've made the actual die body myself, 308 ACP full-length die. Yeah, so 308 AC Phoenix. Damn good little kit. Yes, I'm rather chuffed actually. It's working very well. Now, again, at this point in time, would I have done this now? No, I wouldn't have done. But it wasn't for the buyback and no short magnum cartridges around at the time, I wouldn't have even thought of doing it. So, yeah, one of my little projects. The 308 AC Phoenix. Because the dummy case. And a nice little round. Yeah. So I hope you guys look at that. Any questions, shoot me a comment down below. Yeah, I think I mentioned that, didn't I, with the Arms Guild. I presented it to our local club with the Arms Collectors Guild of Tasmania at one of our annual meetings for item of the year, and in 2012, and of course I was chuffed that I actually won it for this item of the year, so I just sort of legitimised my claim. I've got a couple of little test loads to go. This is 125 grain SST. That's the 165. 125 there. And a 165 grain SST there. The 125 fits to the bottom of the neck, and so does the 165 to the bottom of the shoulder. So you can see that there a bit better. Cute little round. It's got some punch for it. There's actually 35 grains of AR2209, which is 43.50 for you guys that use Hodgkin. So there's 35 grains in that. And it works. No pressure signs, no nothing. And at the moment, I'm literally getting 3 shots in one ragged hole at 100 metres, which is about 110 yards. With that extractor and that one here, I'm trying to get it over here. Well, do this one hand is a bit difficult, isn't it? But it fits in there and holds perfectly. It's, yeah, you can look at that. But I had one of our club members say to me, who's sadly now passed, so that, oh, congratulations, you've reinvented the 30-30. And I thought, well, yeah, I did, but it was a lot of fun on the way of doing it, and it was a huge learning curve. So yeah, there you go, guys. That's my new cartridge for the year. I've been 20 years playing on it. I finally got a rifle finished, and it's absolutely brilliant. Bench rest wise, I'd love to build a little bench rest rifle out of it. I have gone down to 6.5 in the calibers, but I end up losing a lot of brass because of the sharp shoulder, 40-degree shoulder. It didn't really work as well as what I would have liked, but it is what it is. But in the 308, projectile's easy to come by, barrel's easier to come by. Yeah, it's got plenty of punch. Quite frankly, it's my little doe rifle now. Go out and shooting some doe with it, and she'll knock them down, no worries. Anyway, so there you go. Cases, rifle, reamer and gauges, form die and collets, reloading dies. And there you go, that's the process of the form. You can see that there as it comes down. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Cheers.